Cole took the schools in New South Wales. Tessa Ebert from South Australia, she took the double in their schools and also the ASA event. Imogen Baker, the Victorian champion, and Madeline Taylor, the Western Australian. She has come across to Ballarat to compete. Tessa Ebert, standout, Michael. She is the Ondieki 3,000 metre champion. She took that bit of maybe a boil over, so we had Baker really launch for that one, but Ebert just took the win there. We're also in this field, you've got Mika, who finished 7th in the Ondieki, the 3,000 at the Zatopek meet, obviously, and Ali Brooks was 8th in 9:44. Now, the all-schools 3,000 metre, it was Cole who took that one out from Mullins, so Cole in 9:57. And last year, or moving up in age groups, we had Tavia Williams take this age group last year as they've moved up. Imogen Baker was 2nd. Also, Mika was 4th. So it is a good field, but Tessa Ebert, the South Australian, probably the one to watch. We see Baker going out there with her. I wouldn't be surprised if Tavia Williams is thereabouts early as well. But Ebert, the one to watch. But Baker, so strong and also been running well across road, cross country. Recently been across to New Zealand alongside the likes of Cole and also Tavia Williams for the New Zealand National Cross Country Championships. So they've got a bit of cross experience here. They've run this course as well. They know it. So they've got that home ground advantage here, which Ebert doesn't have, but Ebert has plenty of form on the board.
Yeah, it might be a bit of a case of running smart for Ebert and waiting for her time. And as we see, there's a pack of 5 athletes out the front, much like the race that we just had with our under-18 boys. Just sitting with the pack, seeing how things play out and waiting for a move. As you said, she's a form athlete. She ran 16:14 over 5Ks very recently, a couple of weeks ago in South Australia, which is an outstanding time. And over a relatively flat course here at Victoria Park. Yeah, it's probably her race to lose, but we have been surprised. So after 22 races here at the National Cross Country Championships, we've seen many different ways to win. So we've almost got a group of 4 just splitting themselves over those logs and just regrouping and splitting themselves again and regrouping. So we'll see on the other side of the mud patch, will it be a group of 1, a group of 6? How will they sort themselves out? Right now, they're going over them one by one in single file. But it is Tessa Ebert who is leading them.
So group of 3 now. I wouldn't be surprised if possibly Cole was up there. You can see the red uniform. We're assuming that will be Ebert. So she's got bid number 815. We'll see if we can get some head-on shots relatively soon. So group of 3. Then a little bit of a gap, then the group of 2. So already we're seeing this under-20 event over 6,000 metres, 6 kilometres, that there are starting to be some breaks in the field. Not surprising, going to be more of a spread field in the under-20s. But we're seeing some talent out front and they are really forcing that pace. So definitely Ebert in the middle there. Baker to the outside of her. Just trying to identify our next runner.
So it looks like it's Isabella Valinoti is one of the 3.
It's actually Bellinotti.
Bellinotti?
Yeah, who's gone up an age group here. I had forgotten that because we were calling her in a previous age group. But Bellinotti from Queensland, I think she has stepped up an age group here to the under-20s. So I think she's also eligible for the under-18s. 2008 born.
So Ebert,
she's probably in the same age group as Tessa Ebert. Although I think Ebert's stepped up as well. So this is a very interesting race. So Bellinotti, the Queenslander. So we finally worked out who our top three are. You can see Ebert just struggling a little bit as she goes through that sort of muddier section. And actually that's quite a break there. So Bellinotti put the foot down there. Baker's the only one to really respond. So only 5 minutes in as well. So it's still early days here. And it's Bellinotti and also Imogen Baker 1-2 at the moment. Ebert, maybe the task ahead of her here or from here on. But let's see what happens. It's still very early.
Yeah, of course. We did talk her up at the start, but we did say with a caveat that anything can happen on a day of cross country. So don't count anyone in, don't count anyone out. Let's see how the race plays out. So Valinoti of Queensland, Baker of Victoria, a bit of a gap to Ebert, and then a fair bit of a gap to 4th, 5th, 6th behind. So they're about 1.7, 1.8 Ks or so through this event.
So probably not great signs for Ebert though, that at this stage that gap just does seem to be stretching out. So mentally she's got to try and compose herself and think, okay, can I pull it back in that second half? But the way the two out front are moving and the way that they're pushing each other, that's going to make it incrementally harder for Ebert to try and come through. So Bellinotti looking very strong. We know Imogen Baker is strong. We've seen her that often run some really nuggety events here. But Bellinotti is definitely charging and challenging. Just has a quick look at the watch and she'll see there's a bit new. Approaching 7 minutes now as they'll be coming through and approaching the start finish area once again. They'll probably go through there a bit over 10 minutes. So still a way out as they approach the mound, I think, now for the first time. So this will show us a lot. Let's have a look at the respective styles. Bellinotti just nice and compact, up and over. And then we're just seeing Imogen just floating off the other side as well. But Bellinotti got a break there as well. So use that downhill nicely. Imogen's got to think about that. Okay, I can't let her on the easier part just drift away. I've got to work that rather than just let my brain fade out. I've got to actually think about what am I doing on the downhill. Now we're seeing in the widescreen there that we are seeing that they're quite a pack a bit behind there and they are starting to work together. But Bellinotti's made quite a break early.
Yeah, she has. And relatively early in the race, when you've got 6 Ks to cover and you've covered about 2, making a bit of a move and putting yourself out there to bridge a gap on your competitors, it's a bit gutsy, but maybe she's feeling that good and is that confident that she's going to hold that lead. Sometimes when you know, and don't wait just for the sake of it, just because it's not common practice. Probably the sort of runner as well that's endurance is on her side, and to get away from the rest of the field earlier rather than later is only going to help her.
That's definitely an expanding gap there that we're seeing between Bellinotti and Baker. Ebert was in third, but we'll see if we can get vision on that as they start to come through the transitional area and start their second lap. But Bellinotti is really starting to assert herself once again. It's similar to Kish, but at a much earlier stage than Kish when Lucas just decided to hold back, and then go. But Bellinotti's decided it was really the mound that did it. She got that little bit of a break coming down the mound and has just gone on with it. Now crosses the road, comes in towards the transitional area. And Isabella Valinoti looking very impressive at the moment, because Baker now probably adrift by about 40 to 50 metres.
Yeah, we're about 2.7 kilometres through the first lap for our leaders. So if they whiz past you, if you're a spectator out on course, give them a round of applause, G them up for their second lap. They're halfway through a grueling 6-kilometre cross-country event, running as hard as they possibly can. So give them a bit of encouragement. About 2.8 kilometres through for Valinoti. Pretty soon she'll enter that transition area and begin her second lap.
So it's the final event for the females here, the under-20 women. A few of the girls would have been at the venue for quite a while, watching all the action. We saw some great running in the open events. And now back into the juniors and the under-20s. Completing our program here, and Isabella Valinoti looking in fine form as she comes through to get 1 lap to go for the Queenslander. Imogen Baker sitting in second position. That gap is still continuing to grow.
And we can see pretty clearly on screen here, second lap has begun for our leader in Isabella Valinoti. Quite a thick pack though, a little bit further back in the field, maybe in our top 5 to 15 athletes. There will be interesting battles going on and maybe some changes in positions over the next 3Ks. Valinoti has absolutely made her mark on this race, so she's probably got a lead of about 70, 80 metres ahead of Imogen Baker of Victoria. But we can see further back in our screen, a number of athletes flooding through, one after the other, which is always good in a cross-country race. You want always want people to chase.
Zoe Honeybrook also there with Tavia Williams and Matilda Cole, so they were working nicely together in that sort of pack just behind, but they could be potentially battling for minor medals. I'm not sure if I saw Ebert coming through. Did you spot her?
I was wondering about Ebert. I didn't say anything on purpose because I actually didn't spot her, so she very well could have fallen back a little bit in the field potentially.
There's no misunderstanding about who is leading. It is Isabella Valinoti from Queensland. An impressive performance here. Imogen Baker, she is still looking quite strong, but that gap is continuing to grow, as you can see on the big screen there. So it will be Valinoti coming through, and yet again, something disastrous would have to happen now between Isabella Valinoti and not winning this championship, and I think she will go through. Still looking good form, isn't it? It's, nice arm motion, just moving beautifully across the ground, Michael. So I can't see why Isabella just can't keep going on at that pace.
She could
particularly given there's no real challenge.
Yeah, exactly. To keep your foot on the gas when there's no immediate threat.
Yeah, if it was, say, Willandra or one of the tougher Mulaney, a course like that, you can see people absolutely blow when they hit some of the real severe hills. But here, it's not going to serve up to them as difficult, and especially when you've got the lead, you've got the adrenaline surging, and she'll just go on her merry way.
She could be bridging the biggest gap that we've seen of anyone today.
Yep.
To be honest, she's probably 150, maybe even 200 meters. It's and she's still got about 2 kilometers of running to go.
Yep. I'd say that putting my money on Baker still being in second position. I doubt that Imogen would drop. She is strong and she knows this course, so she'll just be doing her own thing from here on. Now that she won't actually see a lot of Isabella out in front of her because that gap is getting so big, so Imogen's just got to get her head into her own headspace and think about what she's doing and not what's happening up front, and more so think, well, okay, is there anyone challenging from behind? Is that group that included last year's winner from this age group, Tavia Williams, are they starting to come forward? And that included also Cole, who's run this course as well as Honeybrook from New South Wales. So still a bit of interest in this as they come around.
And we can kind of see just in the back of this, our shot here, we see Imogen Baker is in second position. There was about a 50 metre or so gap to a lot of athletes behind her. So I would dare say that Ebert, if she's holding third position, it would only just be holding third. So Imogen Baker is by no means has a silver medal sewn up, and the bronze is up for grabs for absolutely anyone. But such an impressive spectacle here from Isabella Valinoti, who's just extending
I reckon she might have had a fall, Michael. Look at that. I reckon she might have gone down in the mud. That's more than just splatter, isn't it? So we might have missed that footage.
Yeah.
But definitely mud all the way up the legs. So yet again, though, she's just back on her feet, doing her thing, very professional. A little bit of an up and over here as she launches into the equestrian centre for the second time. But Isabella Valinoti looking very proficient, despite what could have been a little bit of a oops in the mud pit. The second one, I'd say, would have claimed her. And let's just see how she goes on her merry way here. I'd love to get a little bit of footage from behind. We're starting to get some there. It looks like, Imogen's still sitting in that second position. And I'd say it might have been that, yeah, there's a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that are still in contention. Imogen's sitting safely, I'd say, in that second spot. It's going to be hard to run her down from there, and she is pretty gutsy and she's pretty quick too. But it's going to be a matter of who's launched out from that group. And they're single file at the moment. They're not running as a pack. And I'd love to know the names or the numbers of those ones.
Yeah, it's an absolute battle for third. If we can keep an eye on that little battle further back in the field and identify some runners, that'd be ideal. Bellinotti moves through the equestrian part of the equestrian course. She's nearing 1.5 kilometres to go. About 6 minutes or so left in her race. Isabella Valinoti, as she just extends her lead on the rest of the field. Imogen Baker sitting nicely in second as well. But yeah, that battle for bronze is well and truly on. It'll be interesting to see when we see him come through the finishing chute eventually.
So Baker now going through the equestrian centre. So a good vision of her there. And we can see what's happening in that chase. And oh God, there are 5 at least, potentially 6 in contention for the medals here. So this race is well and truly on. I wouldn't be surprised if that's Williams on the inside, taking in a line. Can't quite spot the person in black who's with her. Top end of the course now, Isabella Valinoti returning for home, literally, and the Queenslander, she'll be able to look across the course here. That's the important part of this section here, Michael. They can see across and see where the opposition is. That'll be very important for this next group as well, and also for Imogen Baker. She'll get a spot on who's chasing her, and she'll see that they aren't that far behind. As you can see down the other side, Bellinotti has well and truly cleared out. And she's up and over the mount. Gee, it's a massive lead. I think you're right. This is probably the biggest win that we're going to have for the day. Bellinotti just class above here.
Oh, I'd say so. Really, it's very, very impressive. And we look a bit further back on our, well, it's on our screen here, on our second screen. I don't think Imogen Baker has a silver medal guaranteed. I mean, I'd say it's likely, but it's definitely not guaranteed. And that battle for bronze is still on, although there is one athlete who has presented themselves as creating a bit of a gap. But she's very quickly making her way up into second spot. So what you can see on your screen now is the battle for, we've got Imogen Baker in second position up ahead. And then we've got third, fourth, fifth and sixth all lining up in behind her.
Well,
Isabella Valinoti is hundreds
whoever's
of metres
moving in third,
front.
I think, could take second. I think they've got the momentum here. So Imogen's got to be really careful with this. So they are, whoever it is, and I'd love to know who it is. Our apologies for not having a spotter out there telling us, but it is a very, very good run. I wonder if it's someone like Lara Sacaner from Victoria, who is renowned for her grittiness. But look at that, as I said, that distance is just coming in and in. So it looks like it will have to be quite an almighty effort for Imogen Baker to hold this off.
So Imogen Baker is going to get caught by the looks of it. It's just whether she'll have the legs to hang on and stick out the battle to clinch that second position, or if she'll be passed almost immediately and be run off her feet if she's just zapped of energy from the big effort at the start of the race. So it will be, I mean, we're keeping our eyes on that battle because we can see Isabella Valinoti from Queensland is just well ahead of the rest of the field in probably what is going to be the biggest win of the day. She's got about 500 to 600 metres left, Bellinotti.
I think Baker knows that she's under threat here and she is trying to lift. Let's see if we can get some vision more clearly, but that battle for second, third is enticing. But I think they're the medals right there. So we know Bellinotti's got gold. It looks like Baker He's going to be in a battle for that second and third position. And unfortunately, once again, they go to a presentation while we have our glory moment for Isabella Valinoti. Hopefully they've gone through in enough time and we can call it in across the line. So Valinoti coming into the home stretch now.
So pretty strong running, 20 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock. We know time doesn't matter in cross country, but that is pretty impressive. She'll make her way into the finishing straight. Isabella Valinoti of Queensland in one of the biggest wins that we've seen today. Sticks her fingers up, give her a round of applause. You are the under-20 national cross-country champion.
As we said, it looks like Isabella might have had a bit of a spill out there, and it looks like Imogen Baker might have just secured that silver medal. So the person in third that we're trying to spot now, and I think it is Lara Sacaner. That was a pretty good spot from overhead. She's sitting in third position, the young lady in the athletics Essendon uniform. But rounding the bend now, we're going to see Imogen Baker. Here she is. She's gritty, she's tough, and it looks like she's going to take a silver medal here today in this championship event. So congratulations to Imogen. She's held off a big charge. Good charge there from Lara through that probably 4th to 5th kilometre. And then Imogen's just held her nerve, held her position, and Imogen Baker will come through to take the silver medal. And it looks like Lara Sacaner just is going to hold on there. So big charge from her to move away from those that challenging pack. And Lara Sacaner from Victoria, she will take third position and the bronze medal here in the under-20 women's 6,000 metre cross-country championship. I think the next one through.